Hi you guys, I am doing 2 complaining videos today, and as I'm speaking I have not decided which one I'm going to start with. And I think we're going to go with Career for 500. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos, and I was inspired to do it because Jared has been doing these monthly recap videos on my second channel, or maybe on this channel depending on where I decide to post it.
All that pit, that rage, that fuck, man, I should have made it 5 years ago already. You know what I'm saying? And this wouldn't even be a problem, you know what I'm saying? All that gut, all that feeling, I pack that shit into here, and it makes what I do and what I feel so much more real.
This month has been a really awesome, interesting, slow, discouraging, crazy, not busy month for me. I may take this hat off because it's going to be one of those things where I got to keep putting it back on my head, which is distracting for everybody. I've come to a realization that I put into a metaphor that I'm going to continue to use because it really helps to describe how I feel, that I'll never stop kicking the ball. I don't want to say never, but I definitely have one of those careers that makes sense. I don't have one of those careers that you're like, whoa, you were just there and now you're there, how'd you get there? Like, you guys saw me walking the whole time. And like, you look at your window and you're like, oh, she's just still there. And you went and got tea, chilled, called your homie, talked to your mom for a minute, came back to the window, and like, I was only like marginally up the street at that point. That's enough, that's enough. It's like 10 seconds in and I can't do it anymore. And so I was saying to my sister at the start of this year that what's a little disheartening to know is that for me, I never have to stop kicking the ball. I kind of feel like I'm playing this game of soccer and I have all this stuff on my back and I've carried everything with me. I'm in this game and I'm committed to this game and like, it's all on the line. And then I walk over to that ball and I get there and I kick it and it moves and I stand there and I watch, hoping it'll keep rolling, and then it stops. And then I have to pick up all my stuff, walk over to the ball, and kick it again. And then I kick it, and it rolls, and it stops. And knowing this, the lesson I've kind of learned in all that is I have to really stop expecting the ball to keep rolling. I have to really stop expecting and watching to see what the ball will do. I almost at this point have to assume that I'm gonna have to kick it again. So I should just keep walking. You know, I should never stop the momentum. I should just keep grinding. And that's a little exhausting. So at the start of this year, something really exciting was happening. First time ever, guys, I was putting out my own show. And a lot of you guys have always said, like, I want you to have your own show and dream of your own show. This was it. You know, it was on a brand new platform. So mind you, maybe it didn't get the big like cachet that it deserved because of the fact that, you know, it's in a space that you guys aren't familiar with. But this company named Fullscreen, which is a streaming service, invested in my idea. And they made me executive producer, and they gave me a writing credit, and they gave me a hosting credit, and it was 100% my brainchild. And I worked together with a really great showrunner named Eric Rusch, who put it together amazingly. So it was honestly the perfect mix because it was my idea, my passion, my vision, and my executive decision, but his experience, his contacts. It was really pretty much, you know, done nicely for me, and it was just me who had to say yay or nay. It was an amazing opportunity, but it was an opportunity that, you know, it wasn't that massive tsunami. It was just another wave in the ocean. And I did that opportunity and I had that experience, and I kind of expected the first time that my show would come out for it to be a big deal, for there to be press around it or something massive. And it was just like, kind of like Monday when it happened, any other Monday. And it was a bittersweet. Leading up to the opportunity of my show coming out, guys, I felt really, really queasy and anxious. And I kind of love those feelings, to be honest with you. And I was saying that to a friend of mine, that whenever you're in that space of discomfort or anxiety or, you know, a form of depression or just deep sadness, it's an opportunity for you to really get to know yourself. I'm not emotionally unstable, so most of the times when I feel something, there's a root reason for that. You know, these disorders like depression or mania, for example, are when the stimulus does not match the feeling or the response you have to it. So when, for example, postpartum depression is when you have a baby and you're excited and you're happy and you're so thrilled to have this beautiful creature that you get to call your own, you know, into this world, but because of the fact that there has been a drastic drop in hormones in your body, you naturally feel down. And it doesn't match how you think you should feel or how you actually feel, but you can't help but feel down. That's as a result of a chemical imbalance. So that is when, you know, when you have these deep feelings of sadness, these deep feelings of hysteria, if you have an emotional instability, you know, may not need to do the same assessment of yourself of like why, because there really could be no reason why, and that's okay. But for me, because I do not experience, that's just not one of those things that I struggle with. Whenever I do experience anxiety, whenever I do experience great sadness, there's always a root reason. Sometimes I'm not aware of it. So in this circumstance, the start of the year happened. I came back to LA and I was really glad to be back. And this is the first time in my life that I really understood the word or term family. Being away from Jared for Christmas was really difficult for me. And my family has their own families. You know, my sister has her own family. My mom and dad have their own unit. Everybody has their own. And I'm kind of like the add-in who's there, you know, as a guest really. And no one gets me a Christmas gift, which, you know, of course they're not going to because they get each other stuff. And so it was one of those things where I was like, man, like my family is here in LA and my family is what I'm building, you know, with Jared, that unit, that we have each other's back. And then we go to other families and become a bigger family, but that really is my family. So I came back to LA with this, you know, renewed sense of like, okay, like this is really, really home. And home is home in a different sense now, in a more of a ceremonial sense. LA is home in an actual literal sense. But the year started out really slow. Like honestly not knowing what to do certain days. And it was a great opportunity for me, of course, to focus on YouTube, which is an amazing blessing. And I will never, ever turn my back on YouTube because of the fact that it always keeps you relevant. It always gives you a space to have a voice. And so I started back, of course, doing YouTube videos, but there was nothing really else happening. And then my show is coming out and there's nothing really happening leading up to that. There's no real hype or anticipation. There's no press conferences. It's just like me knowing I'm going to do this thing and looking for it to be something grand because I want it to be, but it just really not. And so that anxiety just kind of was me realizing that like, man, like this is not the big bang. It's another brick on the path. Maybe it's 3 bricks. Maybe it's, you know, a larger brick this time, but it really is just another brick on the path. And I had to keep kicking the ball. And so when the show came out, I was writing a bunch of people, you know, press contacts that I've made, you know, trying to come up with a way to promote it. And I literally got nothing back in return. Like no traction, no bites. Some people didn't even respond, which is disheartening because, you know, when they need you for something, you respond to them. And then in return, when you want to continue that dialogue, you just get nothingness. And I always say that about the experience of pursuing entertainment. People think it's a lot of rejection. You know, like how do you deal with all that rejection? I'm like, rejection would be a luxury. It's silence. You know, a lot of the times you hear nothing back. You go on these great meetings and connect with somebody. And I went in a meeting in December where I was like in tears in the meeting, not out of like, this is going shitty Mayday, out of tears of like, I really connected with the project and I connected with the head of the project and I felt like we were really gelling, and silence afterwards. You know what I mean? Like I have no idea what that project is doing, where that person is. Mind you, it's really not personal. It's usually that they've moved on, the industry moves quickly. That project could actually be canned right now. Who knows what it is, but you know, silence is the mark of Hollywood. I think a lot of people go crazy in the silence because it is so still here. There really is no like flow or current. It's like the middle of the ocean, and that's how I would describe LA. It's the middle of the ocean. It's a stillness, but like you can kind of see that there's like a boat over there where there's stuff happening, and you can kind of see in the distance that there's like a shore where people are partying. Like you don't really know how to get there because there's no current taking you. You're kind of just sitting and like waiting, and you don't really know what direction to swim in. People end up swimming in circles for that reason. So that was kind of the harsh realization for the start of this year. And today, for example, I'm going on a meeting with my agency. And I've been with my agency now for a year. And it's kind of just like a moot relationship, which is fine. You know, I have a great relationship with my management team. And so, you know, you really can't have that cohesiveness with everybody. But I'm going today to be like, okay, guys. You know, like you gotta find that what next. And it's not like other people are coming to me with that what next. It has to be me who picks up myself and walks over to that ball and tells everyone, okay, I'm gonna kick the ball now. Like, let's kick it together. Can we get a crowd cheer going here? That's just the way that it's gonna have to be. So I wanted to tell anybody right now, I guess, who's struggling with something similar, who feels the stillness of January or the stillness of wherever it is that you're watching this video, where it feels like, where is the momentum? It feels like, what is momentum and who gets that? You know, where are these people where it's just one after the next, after the next, after the next, and there's just a steady climb, and the next thing you know, they get this 3-picture deal, and life is just awesome and sailing. There are people like me out there who love it. You know, I love every moment. I'm so grateful. I have an amazing life. And I did a video where I was just like, a couple months ago, just crying for how grateful I am for the life that I live and the partner that I have and the home, the apartment that I have, you know, worked for, and grateful enough to have gotten opportunities to got me this far. At the end of the day, I could kick the ball and the ball could not move. I could kick the ball and it could go out of bounds. I could kick the ball and it goes to the opposing team and I never get a chance again. I am extremely fortunate that I do get time after time after time to continue to work towards that goal and continue to try to get to the end zone or whatever that may be. And maybe there really isn't one. I'm still trying to figure that out and finding the joy in that discovery. Sure, I wish it was easier. Sure, I wish there was more flow to it. You know, sure, I wish I was invited to certain parties or I was let in on certain circles or my access was growing, you know, as my opportunities grew, but it's not that way. So you got to find the lesson in that and find the joy in that. And so I want you guys, if you do feel the stillness right now, and if you are feeling a little bit down because you don't feel like there's the wind at your back, kick the ball. Success is not about the biggest wave. The ocean is a continuous cycle of little waves, little currents. That is what creates rocks into sand. It's that nonstop, resilient beating against the shore that just never, ever ceases. Those massive waves that come, yes, they do damage and they make the news and they're like big and shiny and then surfers ride them and they're exciting. But that's not really what makes change. That's not really what changes the Earth's surface. It's the consistent little ones. Some of us are consistent little waves. Some of us are big tsunamis. Some of us are a series of small waves and a couple of tsunamis here and there. It doesn't matter. The main thing though is accepting whatever your routers or whatever it is that nature has intended for your path to be and just fitting in that space. I know what my space is. It's the consistency. And so that's why YouTube is an amazing space for me. And I encourage you guys to find whatever that is for you. The biggest thing that you can do when you feel stagnant, start your own game. If you don't feel like anyone's passing you the ball in the game that you're in right now, start your own game. Sometimes I feel like I'm playing soccer by myself, and I'm okay with that. I actually enjoy my company profusely, so that's all right. Whatever you can do in this exact moment to gain control of your future and of your next step, do that thing, as small as it is. One of the biggest things that I do, I think has led to my steady growth over time, is breaking up my life into very small tasks. And Jared and I have this debate constantly because he's a big picture dreamer. I do not have a big dream, guys. I never really have. Like, I just have a dream for tomorrow. I have a goal for what I want to accomplish today. I'm a very small, and maybe, you know, I mean, as I say that out loud, maybe that's the reason why it is a slow process, is because I'm not focused on the big goal. I'm focused on the little ones. And so I conquer a lot of little things, but the big, massive things, maybe I'm not giving enough energy towards, who knows. But I'm a small doer. Like, my to-do lists literally say shower on them. Like, I keep it simple so I know I can cross off something at the end of the day and feel like, okay, I set out to do this one thing today and I did just that. And that process may work for you as well too. Thank you guys so much for whoever did. And I don't want to minimize the fact that even though the full screen show didn't get me a spot on Good Morning America and, you know, may not be nominated for a Shorty Award, what it did do was affirm that I know what I'm doing, that a lot of the time and effort and work and energy I've spent into researching this area can actually be applied to real life, and those lessons can be transferred onto you guys. And so for everybody who watched the show, and there's a lot of you guys, and so I do not want to take away from the fact that you showed up for me, and I fucking love you for that. I was sitting on the other day on a Skype call with this girl. because I do, I interview with anybody, I really do. So if you have a blog or a Twitter account that you do interviews on, you can always hit me up on my booking account and just, we can always chat and talk. If you want one-on-one counseling, of course, there's a fee attached to that, or if you want one-on-one mentoring that's specific to your career, there's a fee attached to that. But if you just want to ask questions and figure out who I am on a different level, you can always contact me. It's free, there's no charge to that. So I was talking with this young girl who was in college and just telling her my story and answering some of her questions. And then in the end of the interview, she says to me, like, I want you to know, when you look at that number, 220,000 subscribers, there's at least 100 of me, who you have impacted in a really deep and meaningful way, and who you have made our lives better, and you have made our conversations richer. Don't ever forget that. When you look at that number, sometimes it can feel like you're just trying to collect apples. They're really people, there. Just a really beautiful reminder that I have to remain vigilant and grateful towards, for your time and your energy and your effort into making my dreams come true, simply by being here right now. By watching this video, you are a massive piece in the puzzle. And some of your names I know, and some of your names I don't know. But overall, thank you for that. And thank you for witnessing this very slow, very slow soccer game. Very slow soccer game. But I'm still playing. Still playing. Hat back on. We out this bitch. It's my own home, so I ain't got nowhere to go, but we out this bitch.
I get it, girl. Oh yeah, I get it, girl. Yeah, I get it, girl. Oh. And if you don't know, get it, girl.